kids, it's the Mist and Fly here. You find me on yet another absolutely glorious day, beautiful day for a bike ride. I'm out on another new bike, and this is another one from KTM. This is the mother, or possibly the father of all adventure bikes, you could argue. This is the KTM Super Adventure, the 1290 Super Adventure S. 1.3 litres of hulking adventure bike, laden with technology. Really looking forward to riding this. As somebody who's of course very used to riding adventure bikes, I own a BMW GS myself. This is kind of the next generation, if you like, and it's got oodles of stuff going on, so I'm only going to scratch the surface. This will be my first impressions type review, but if you stick around and stay tuned for the next few minutes, I'll tell you what I think to this beautiful bike. Well, you'll probably notice by the fact that I called it a beautiful bike that I'm already slightly biased in its favour, because I think this particular bike looks great. One of the criticisms I've had of KTMs quite a lot in the past is that they don't look that good. Well, this Super Adventure S and its brother, the R, both look really good. They've got these very distinctive front lights that sort of split opinion. They're there not only to look good, it makes it look kind of like a big wasp or something, or a hornet, but also the central split, which is full of a big old dollop of aluminium, acts as a heatsink for the LCD lighting. So it's a great bit of technology. Let's wheedle through here. Gotta love bikes to be able to do that sort of thing. And not only does it do something, you know, functional, but it looks great, I think, as well. But as I say, it does split opinion. A lot of people don't like the front lights. I think they look great. So well done, KTM, for being different on that. So although these adventure bikes are, of course, built for on and off-road activity, let's not kid ourselves, most people buy these really as sort of sports tourers, don't they? So what I want to do is find myself a bit of decent fast road, and the A41 is just up here, and see what this thing is like on faster roads, and just kind of imagine what she'd be like to tour on. All through the lights for a change. Those are some of my least favourite traffic lights in the world. When they change, they take ages to go back to green, so I'm glad to get through there. Something I noticed quite immediately about the big old Super Adventure is the fact that it's pretty tall. I feel really high up here. I've got a great view over the traffic. Well, it actually is quite a tall bike. I've got this one on its lowest seat position, and I'm on tippy toes, so I don't think I would I necessarily would want to maybe have a full load and a pillion on her. Would feel, for me, being 5'8", a little bit ponderous, I think, but it does give you a good view over the traffic. Handling is so light on this. It's such a big bike. I don't quite know how that works. You can just chuck it around and it feels light as a feather. Beautiful. Right, let's join the dual carriageway. See how she does on the wind protection. Right, clear behind. 160 horsepower or thereabouts, so very quickly up to 70 miles an hour on the motorway. And I'm in a sort of bubble of calm up to about my shoulders, and then I'm getting some turbulence sort of around the top of the shoulders onwards, and that might simply be down to the crash helmet and jacket I'm wearing, which I find makes a big difference. But I'm certainly in a calm bubble here, which is nice. The screen on this is adjustable by these grey knobs. You can do it on the fly, and it seems to do a pretty good job of keeping the worst of the wind off. Bags of power, bags of comfort. Everything on this is eminently adjustable. So I've got this set for the suspension in street mode, and also the riding mode is in street as well, and very, very comfortable, as you would imagine. The seat is nice and wide, quite hard as KTM do, but it's very comfortable. I'm sitting bolt upright, my knees are less than 90 degrees. It feels towards the sporty end, I guess, of seating positions, but I'm not leaning forward at all. Big wide bars, they fall exactly where you want to put your hands. All day long comfort. Riding position actually is exactly the same as the GS, which I guess is probably fairly optimal. So no surprise then, as a cross-continental cruiser, this thing would be absolutely sublime. Comfortable, powerful, brilliant. My goodness me, it goes quick if you want it to. This thing has the same engine in it as the Super Ducati, which was an amazing bike, and goodness me, it's lost none of its poke. Absolutely lovely. What a great combo. That nuts engine in an adventure frame, I love it. And I love this big screen as well, which I don't know if you saw it then as I wound on the gas slightly. It just went nuts at me. There was no doubt that I was I was going quick. I love it. Now, without even going into the detail of all the stuff that this bike offers, I think I'm already sold on it, in that I think if money was no object and I was in the market for an adventure bike, as much as I love the GS and the GS Adventure, I think this has now surpassed what BMW are doing. Just as much as anything because this has got all that extra grunt, which is addictive. I know, you know, if you're going to tour and stuff, you don't need stupid power, but for things like that where you just want to sneak by something to overtake quickly, then the power is lovely. But also this TFT screen is so clear and it's so laden with stuff on here, just controlled with this pretty simple set of buttons here. It's fairly obvious how to work your way through it. It's starting to get to the sort of functionality that I so love on the Navigator 5 that I've got on my BMW GS, and that was one of the things that kept me loyal to the BMW. But now, with this fitted on the KTM, it almost has that functionality. If they would just integrate the GPS or a GPS onto that screen, you'd have the perfect bike as far as I'm concerned. This particular machine is fitted with the quick shifter, both up and down, and even at low speeds it works a treat. It's so much more refined than the quick shifter on the BMW. I've ridden quite a lot of the KTM range in the last couple of months, and I have to say the thing that I find with all of them, from a sort of engineering and riding point of view, they are just pretty sublime. There's nothing not to like. They just work. The downside with KTMs, for me at least, is the design of them. They don't necessarily grab you by the heart, but the way they look. And this is one of possibly only two KTMs that I actually think looks nice. I love the Super Ducati. That thing was just nuts, and I think it looks okay. I could live with this slightly quirky looks because it's such a good bike. But this thing, not only is it a good bike, but I think that front end looks brilliant on it. If I won the lottery or a load of money tomorrow, I'll buy one of these, no doubt. Still, on a day like this, it's just tempting to keep riding all day. Beautiful. On a day like this and on a bike like this. Wonderful stuff. So just while I'm waiting to find somebody to stop and show you around the bike, it's worth just noting the suspension on this is the semi-active type. So you've got all the usual adjustments you can make, so you can set it up for, you know, single rider, rider with luggage, pillion and rider with luggage, you know, the sort of deal. And that changes the you know, not only the height but of course the damping of the bike as well. And then while you're riding the bike, it does 50,000 calculations a second to adjust the damping to what you're doing with the bike. So very sophisticated bit of kit, like it a lot. KTM have listened to some of the criticism, so this bike also has cruise control, which fit over here on the left this time, which is really nice to see. On the I think it was on the Super Duke GT I rode, it was on the right, and that's just a silly place to put cruise control as far as I'm concerned. Well, corners beautifully, it just feels so light on these corners. I'd love to lose the espace. So from a riding mode point of view, you've got sport, street and rain, and an off-road mode as well. I've just got this set in street, but as is, you know, usually the case with these riding modes, you put it into sport, you get the full 160 horsepower, stiffens up the suspension, makes the throttle a little bit more responsive. If you go into rain mode, then it dampens down the power output. You get 100 horsepower instead of the full 160, and maximises the traction control. Just makes a lot of sense. Nicely balanced, so you know, even at sort of walking pace or virtual standstill, the bike just sits upright nicely. There's none of that feeling of top heaviness that you get on some adventure bikes. Brakes work really well. Just has a feeling of being a premium machine, this. Unfortunately, this demo bike isn't fitted with the panniers and top box and so on, so I can't really comment on them, which is a shame, because obviously if you're going to use the bike for touring, that's quite important. Keep forgetting this bike's fitted with a quick shifter and using the clutch, but the clutch, if you so choose to use it, lovely and light, not a problem at all. Right then, let's find somewhere to stop and show you around this. I don't have anywhere in mind, and I'm just enjoying this ride so much, it'd just be nice to keep riding, but I'll find somewhere. Engine sounds quite nice and purposeful as well out of this stock exhaust. It's not obnoxiously loud, but it sounds like it means business. I've got the sun behind me now, and this screen on the TFT display is really clear. They've made a nice job of designing the technology so that it is visible in all kinds of light. The quick shifter, there's absolutely no clunkiness at all. It seems as if it gives you quite a large gap when it sort of cuts ignition and allows you to change gear. You don't have to be really quick or super precise. It just changes, no drama. Like that. Now, out of interest, I'm doing 31 miles an hour. I'm going to change it to 5th. See if she feels like she wants to complain. No clattering or anything like that. So at slow speeds in high gears, this big old twin doesn't complain. Holds the line beautifully, really agile. I've got to find something bad to say about this machine, but I'm just struggling. The mirrors work really well, no vibration. They do look a bit stalky and a bit sort of in your face, so we'll say that's the bad thing about the bike. The mirrors just look rubbish. I'm very much clutching at straws. So the Super Adventure comes in various flavours. I rode the T a few months ago, and a lot of people said, oh, you're not on the 2017 bike. Well, that was. The T, which is the touring version of the bike, still has the original or last year's version of the dashboard, and it doesn't have the new funky lights. This, the S, does have that, obviously, and is kind of the street version of the bike, if you like. Then there's the R as well, which is the more off-roady version, that has the spoke wheels and so on. If I was to get one, then I think it would be the S I would go for. The road's a shocking state here, but this suspension just soaks it all up. Gives you a very nice ride through here. Now I wonder if I can pull in here and do a little bit of a walk around. Let's have a look. Why not? This will do nicely. Big old stand again, which I like about these KTMs. And this one's keyless, so you press the grey button, and then there you go, that kills the power. Alrighty, here she is. Nice looking machine, very purposeful. And check out that front end. Love it. Okay, let's get the other camera out and we'll go through the specs. So let's give you a decent view of this. There we go. Okay, so let's just take a little look at the front of the bike again, and this is the bit that splits opinion so much. That front light, I think it makes it look like a sort of an angry hornet. I really like it, and not only do I think it looks good, but you see that bit in the middle there? This is all heatsink, massive aluminium block just to cool down that row of LC or LED lights that are on the bike. Unfortunately, not going to get a chance to try it at night time to see how well they work, but I imagine they're a turning night into day type job. And I do think this looks like a handsome bike. Criticism I often have of KTMs is they don't look very good, but with maybe the exception of that massive exhaust, look at the size of that, I think this one actually looks purposeful and is a nice machine. No problems with the looks of this. Well done, KTM. In terms of its spec, then, it's got the enormous 1301cc V-twin 4-stroke engine, puts out 160 horsepower with 140 newton meters of torque. So really powerful bike this. It's got all the latest gadgets, of course. It's got all the Bosch electronics, so it's got disengageable cornering ABS. which I am not going to put to the test, but I'll take their word for it, that works on corners. Braking is top notch, as you'd expect. Massive discs up front with big old Brembo 4-piston calipers, so you know, no problem on the stopping department at all. Seat height, as I mentioned, tall. It's 860 millimeters, but the seat is adjustable. But even me as a short 5'8" guy, it does feel manageable. It's not intimidating. Tank capacity is nice and large on this, 23 litres it'll hold, so great for those long tours. Some of the other features, it's got a hydraulic slipper clutch. The suspension, as I mentioned, is the semi-active type. It's from WP. Let's just have a look at that. Massive great forks, which I quite like the way they brand them on the KTMs with a big WP. And again, you can see at the top, if you look at the handlebars, where the stepper motors connect in. Weight of the bike, 238 kilograms wet, 215 dry, so actually that makes it one of the lighter big old bikes when you consider things like the GS Adventure are nearer 238 kilograms, I think, and that's dry. This one comes in a little bit lighter. It's also got tyre pressure monitoring, it's got lean sensitive switchable traction control, it's got that full colour TFT screen that I showed you. I guess maybe one downside of the bike, and this is something that at last I can find something to say negative, is that it is a chain driven machine, which isn't really a problem realistically to me, but I know a lot of people like adventure bikes to be shaft driven. It does take away that bit of a maintenance headache, so I don't know why KTM don't go down that route. Then of course you'd be into extra weight, and I guess it's sort of a balance. So yeah, just sort of touching the surface really. Keyless ignition, USB sockets, the list just goes on and on and on with this bike. It is a highly specified machine. You name it, you can have it. In terms of cost on the road, 14,299, which actually I think that's pretty good value for such a good bike. And in the sunshine looks resplendent in its KTM orange. Right, let's just have a quick look at close up of the handlebars, just because we can with this camera out. Again, really nice quality feel to the switchgear on this. It doesn't feel flimsy or like it's going to break. Nice little touches like the KTM logo on the handlebar there, and then the usual KTM switchgear on this side, complete with the traction control at the top there as well. All right, enough chat. Let's get back on the bike and sort of summarise our feelings on this machine. Okay, so just before I jump on and ride her some more, let's just see what she's like to manhandle around here on the car park. I'll just turn around, see how she feels. Oops, she's in gear. Bit of clutch will help. There we go. Does, I mean, there's no doubt she feels heavy, but not top heavy, so not difficult to move at all. Feels very much like my GS, really, which isn't a problem. You just of course got to be careful because it is of course a big bike. Okay, and then jump back on. Now this is the keyless ride version again, which is touch that again to bring her alive. Let's have a little look at the screen. I love this, how it says ready to race. Brilliant. And then start up in the usual way. Cracking display. Right, where's he off to? Very tight turning circle on her as well. She's welcome. I must just say thanks again to the guys up at the KTM Centre in Hemel Hempstead for letting me borrow this amazing bike to review. Very friendly bunch of guys up at Hemel at the showroom there. Go check them out if you're in the area. Loads of bikes to have a look at, and they'll set you up with a demo as well if you want to have a ride on any. Including this very bike, I'm sure. So I'm racking my brains to try and find something not to like about this machine. Really struggling. I suppose if it was my money on the line and I was thinking seriously about buying a bike, the things that would be against this are, I think the front mudguard looks a bit Bit heavyweight, minor point. Wouldn't stop the deal, but it's just not a great design. It is pretty tall, the bike. I am on tiptoes with the seat on its lowest position, so I'd have to investigate whether there's a way of getting maybe an even lower seat or something, just because I would feel a bit more confident if I had more of my feet on the deck, particularly if I had luggage on. And one of the reasons why I would buy this sort of bike, I'm going to slow down again, this is one of those bikes where you've got to constantly watch your speed. If I was to buy this sort of bike, then I would be using it for touring, so I want to be confident about getting, you know, when it's all loaded up, getting my feet down and holding the bike upright. I also want to check out the panniers just to see what they're like. But other than that, there really is nothing not to like about this. It's a beautiful machine. And I think BMW have really got their work cut out now. I'm kind of expecting them to bring out a new GS back end of this year maybe. There's sort of rumour floating around that that's what they're going to do. There's going to have to be something really spectacular to leapfrog this bike. KTM are right there now. So there we have it. That's pretty much it for my first impressions review of the mighty 1290 Super Adventure S. A lovely bike, can't really fault it. If you're in the market for a big adventure bike, definitely check these out. If you don't, you're doing yourself a disservice, because I think you're going to love it. Beautiful machine. Not only is it comfortable and practical, but it's got this amazing powerful engine as well. It goes like stink and is a lot of fun, and it looks good, which for a KTM is a rare thing. Okay, I hope that's been of interest. Just enjoying my reflection actually in the back of that pickup with those lights. Isn't that brilliant? Okay, so yeah, hope that's been of interest. Look forward to speaking to you next time. Till then, this has been the Listen and Fly. Cheerio.